Where's Mike's packet? Oh, I left it, I put it down in my office.
What is this?
This? Am I supposed to keep a copy of this?
Yes, keep a copy.
Oh, did you get,
In your motion, you're just going to make a reference to the general conditions.
does everybody have a copy of this?
Hi.
Oh. Did you guys give me a copy of that?
Yeah, probably. All right. So official. I'm going to call the public meeting of the Syracuse Board of Zoning Appeals meeting of August 8th now in session. It is 1:02. First order of business is to approve the minutes from the July 18th meeting. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I need a second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, we adopted the minutes. We will now conduct the public hearings on today's agenda. First, the applicant or the applicant's representative will state the reasons for the requested variance and present any material or documentation which is to be considered regarding the proposal. Persons wishing to speak in favor of the proposal will be given the opportunity to address the board. Persons wishing to speak against the proposal will be allowed to talk to the board. Finally, the applicant or representative will be given the option to make any closing arguments or comments to the board. Following the public hearings this afternoon, the board may make a decision on each application heard. The board may also decide to hold its decision until the next public hearing. If the hearing is closed, no additional information will be allowed into the record except for information that the board may request. That information will be available for public review at the zoning office in 1 Park Place, 300 South State Street, Syracuse. Would staff please introduce V2414?
Yes, the first item on the agenda this afternoon is a new business item. It's an area variance to allow an installation of an area of 22 square feet, a wall sign which exceeds the maximum allowable area of 15 square feet for a Cricket Wireless store at 410-30 West Seneca Turnpike. Owner applicant Richard D'Amico. This is in the MX2 zone district.
Is anybody here to speak in favor of the project or present the applicant?
Maybe staff would make a recommendation that we do the other 2 items and see if somebody appears or shows up to present that item.
Sounds like a plan.
So with that, we'll move on to the second item under new business this afternoon, V-24-15, a use variance to allow the construction of a bathroom in a proposed accessory structure located at 515 Caleb Ave. Owner applicant is Cassia Ellis. This is in the R1 zone district.
I'm going to make a recommendation that we take the presentation from the applicant on the 2 related applications before us at one time. So we'll be listening to information on both V2415 and V2417. If the applicant is here. Thanks. Come up to the mic. If you could just make sure to give us your name and your address, although it's in the packet, that would be great.
My name is Cassia Ellis. I live at 515 Caleb Ave, Syracuse.
Want to move your microphone down?
Is that better?
Thank you.
Could you tell us about your applications?
So there is a current garage/shed that's not in great shape. It's not big enough to even put a car in, so it's never been used as anything like that. The woodchucks, I spend hundreds of dollars every year to get them removed. That's basically that's all I do. And I refurnish furniture, I paint, I sand, so I want a workshop space where I can do stuff. I also do a lot of beading and crafting and take things to craft shows, so I need some extra space. So I would like to take that slightly thing down and put up a new structure with some storage, a half bath. I'd like to put a hot tub out there someday, so my parents have some mobility issues. I have some family members with mobility issues, so it would be nice to have something outside for them. And myself and my tenant as well. to enjoy.
Questions from staff for the applicant, or from the board for the applicant?
Tell us about your furniture refinishing. Is this a business you do, or is this just a?
I go to craft shows with little things that I do.
You're not running a business out of this garage? Okay.
No. No, it'll be a little oasis for me. I can't do anything in the basement. We've had several backups in the neighborhood, and it just, you can't store anything or do anything down there.
And what is the need for a bathroom in this shed?
I'm going to have a hot tub out there in the yard to enjoy, and I have some family members with mobility issues.
The two actions before us, one is around the plumbing need, so we'll talk about that. But then could you talk a little bit about the need for the encroachment beyond the setback? So the second F is the...
So this gentleman was out, and he did see the setup of the yard. It's sort of a long driveway. If I were to bring the garage in or over, it's like you have something in the middle of your yard, and it's a very small space to begin with. So I would basically be losing a parking spot, so my tenant would park on the street, which is kind of crazy. And then I'd have this structure in the middle of the yard instead of having a yard. And all three neighbors, the two neighbors that it does affect, have all written letters in favor of the new structure.
Other questions from the board?
Now, you know that if I'm assuming you received the criteria from the city for the variances.
What's that?
You received the criteria that allows for the variances from the city. Now, one of them, for a use variances, you have to show financial difficulties.
No, you have
No?
to show that you cannot get a reasonable return on the property without the variance.
So do you have any comment?
I'm sorry, I can hear.
You have to show you can have a financial return on the property. How would that affect your, if you didn't get the variance, how would that affect your finances?
It's not a question of how it would affect the finances. The criteria is that the applicant is claiming or must prove that they cannot get a reasonable return on the property without the requested variance. That is, that the property would not have value as a single-family home in this case without the variance.
This is a two-family home. So I basically get a decent amount of rent because they have off-street parking.
Right.
And moving this garage is a problem.
Just, we just passed the applicant owner just so she can look at in writing what was submitted and go through those questions that are being asked of the board.
So which
I believe it was
question are you
I
asking?
believe it was the first question on the top page. It was about the reasonable return.
So the first ask you have of us is for the plumbing, which requires a use variance. We have to consider those 4 factors, and we don't have discretion to consider them without evidence before us. So,
Oh, so the use was strictly for plumbing?
so the use variance is strictly for plumbing. So
Okay.
as it relates to the plumbing, we need to understand if you can get a reasonable rate of return without the plumbing, if there are unique circumstances requiring the plumbing, if the hardship was not self-created, and if there's going to be a change to the essential character of the neighborhood. We need to have all 4 of those met, so in order to grant that.
Okay. Well, the structure, the way it is too small to park a vehicle in, so I've never had a garage and don't care to. It's costing me a lot of money every year to get rid of the animals that do live in there. And I just think it would be a really overall great thing for the neighborhood. It's a beautiful structure that Charles has put together for me. I just don't see how it would negatively affect anything or anybody in the neighborhood.
So I'll ask the board again, anybody, while we are thinking use variance in this moment with you, any other questions pertaining to the use variance around the plumbing? Nope. Karen? Nope. Okay. So the second item before us is the area variance, where we have to weigh the 5 factors.
I would suggest that you vote on the use variance because the criteria are separate, and even though you...
She's still presenting, so.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
So just for her clarity and our clarity, I'm just trying to
Yeah, I'm
separate
sorry.
her
I thought
presentation
she-
into the 2 sections.
I apologize, I thought she
All
was
good.
done.
Any questions from the board while we're thinking area variance now, regarding the ask on the encroachment and the lot coverage? The applicant did discuss where it sits in her yard, the yard is small, et cetera.
I think my question is more oriented toward the area variance, but,
It's where we are.
That's where we are.
okay, so I don't know if there's, so staff, I'm a visual, so the solid black line is the existing structure? Is it the dotted red line that's where the new would go? And then, so the area variance is because the garage takes up more of the lot?
It'll be too close to the parcel boundary.
Or, so what's the where would the garage have to be if it were to be far enough away?
4 feet.
4
Yeah,
feet.
so there
It's gonna be 2.3 feet instead of 4 feet in the back, and it's gonna be 3.1 feet instead of 4 feet, which is basically just building off of where the current garage starts. Is
Right,
that,
so the code allows for a porch or a garage to be rebuilt in this location, but, so the relief being sought here is that it's beyond just the existing footprint as is. Now they want to expand this way, so they'd be violating that section of not meeting the setback requirement with the expanded portion that's being proposed.
it's not encroaching any more than the current structure does, right? Correct.
Yeah, it is going beyond the footprint of the existing.
Well, it goes beyond the footprint to the side, to
Correct.
the one side. But
Yeah.
it doesn't go anymore.
It doesn't go
make
anymore,
the
and it won't
3.1.
encroach any further than the existing one, except for the fact that like the structure is getting larger. But this distance, it's 3.1 here. I'm assuming it's the same here.
2.3.
Oh, it's 2.3. So it's, yeah, because it's slightly slanted here. So, yeah, but they're going to keep in line with the existing setback down the property line.
It's fenced in back there currently.
Yeah, so just to, council saying, the current garage's location is non-conforming, and there are provisions to allow to rebuild a garage, but it'd be in the same footprint as is, and she's seeking relief to go beyond that, to expand it, keep it in, keep the setbacks the same down the property line here.
But it's also not proposed to be a garage. So there's provisions in the non-conforming use section that allow you to rebuild a garage. That would be within the footprint of the existing garage. But this is proposed as an accessory building, not an accessory dwelling unit, and not as a garage. So that leniency for the non-conforming uses doesn't apply about rebuilding a garage. This is straight up an application to build a shed from scratch, essentially, because the proposed scope of work is to tear down the existing structure and to encroach into the setbacks. So really, the garage aspect of it doesn't really have anything to do with it from a legal standpoint in reading the code. Does that make sense?
It does. Liam, Tim?
In theory, the new garage, would it need an area
The new
variance?
structure, it's not a garage.
The new structure, would it need an area variance if it were this large, but it were shifted to the middle?
It wouldn't need a variance if it met the setbacks, which are 4 feet.
It's just a setback.
Yeah.
If it was fire rated, cinder block, I think you could be closer to the,
Well, that's a separate issue, so that's something we covered with her design professionals. This is for land use zoning approval. Now, if this is granted, there are some building code issues that will have to be addressed, which the owner's aware of with
Yes,
her
they are
design
in the
professional.
drawings. It is
Yeah.
fire rated on both sides.
Any additional questions from the board for the applicant on the area variance relative to the setbacks on the property line for the proposed new structure? No? Okay. Anything else you'd like to add?
I don't think so.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of the applications? Anybody who wishes to speak against the applications? Okay. I'm going to call the public hearing on V2415. Can I close them both at the same time, or should I close them separately?
Madam Chairman, can we just clarify, it's the public comment
Oh,
portion?
public comment, sorry.
Thanks.
Sorry. First round. Okay. Closing the public comment. Do we know if somebody came for the first one? Yeah. Oh, great, okay.
Also, we are hearing items and voting on them as we go. We're not
right, I
saving them
forgot
to
we're
the
doing
end anymore.
All right. Sorry. I forgot how we're doing it. Okay. Relative to V2515, may I get a motion on the proposed use variance to violate the accessory structure section of rezone? This is the
So
plumbing one.
the criteria for use variance is that the applicant has to
All four.
prove all four beyond the reasonable return justification, the unique circumstances, the neighborhood character justification, and the self-created hardship justification.
Are
I
you
think
making a
based on
motion?
the, I think based on the four criteria and needing to meet all of them, I'd have to make a motion to deny the use variance based on the really not a lot written proof of reasonable, why this is necessary for a reasonable return for the property. And the self-created hardship, I mean, I do think this is a choice to
The other two are the unique circumstances to the property and the essential character of the neighborhood.
I don't think the circumstances of this property are that different than the adjacent properties. The neighborhood character one, I don't think it harms the character, but on the other ones, I just don't think it.
Anybody
Meets
want to second Tim's motion to deny the use variance based on the four criteria as he outlined them?
Second.
Okay. Anything you would like to add? No, I'm sorry.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think I just followed up on Tim's analysis. I just think it's self-created from my understanding of what we've been given.
All those in favor of the motion to deny, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Nope. All right, V2415 is denied. Can I get a motion on V2417, which is an area variance for the structure's encroachment at the property line?
Well, I would make a motion to approve the area variance based on meeting a majority of the criteria for an area variance, which is, I don't think it has a damaging effect on the character of the neighborhood, especially since the existing structure starts at that point on the property lines. So it maintains the line. It does extend it along the back, I guess, a bit, but I don't think that changes the neighborhood character. Feasibility of alternatives. I think the nature of not having a garage, the current size of the garage really limits the use of the structure. The current structure, I could see how having a larger structure makes it much more viable for more than the woodchucks. Sustainability. So why do I always say substantiality? I don't think if I were her neighbor, this would feel substantial to me. Adverse effect, describe whether the proposed area variance will have an adverse effect or impact the physical environment of the neighborhood or district. I don't see it having enough of an effect, enough of an impact to change the neighborhood or district. And is it self-created? There's already a garage basically here. It's just making it larger to use it. So I think considering a majority, I believe a majority of these criteria are met, and I would recommend giving the area variance.
Anybody like to second the motion?
I'll second and just point out to the immediate neighbors wrote letters of support. I don't think it would have an adverse impact in any way.
Okay, so in accordance with the rezone and the statutory criteria for an area variance, can I get a vote on the motion to approve the area variance as outlined here and with the conditions as outlined in our board packet on page 32?
Yeah, you should, maybe someone should read them
I
into
will
the
read them
record.
out. The applicant shall comply with the general conditions for approval,
Which are here.
which are here and contained in the application. And that's it. That's all I got on the area variance.
Oh, okay.
There were conditions on the use. So, all those in favor? Aye. Great, the motion passes. All right. Is there a representative for our first item, which was V2414?
We didn't do C.
Oh, shit, we didn't do
He's got it. Oh,
seeker.
seeker.
I hate seeker.
Okay, we'll walk you through the seeker analysis for those two variances. And at the end, I will need someone to make a motion to affirm your votes. Okay? Sorry about that. Has everybody, okay, as to the area variance V-24-14, has everyone had a chance to review the short EAF Part 1 that is in your packet?
Yes.
Okay, and is everyone familiar with the questions of the short EAF Part 2?
Yes.
All right. Does anyone believe this project will have any moderate to large impacts on the environment under seeker?
No.
Okay. Because you do not believe there will be any moderate to large impacts, I recommend you vote to issue a negative declaration under seeker and complete the EAF Part 3 accordingly. Oh, I'm sorry. So that's the cricket. Okay, I'm sorry. So this is the seeker as to V-24-17. My apologies. Looking at the wrong place on the agenda. Same questions. We need a motion on seeker.
Can I get
Make a motion for a negative declaration on the seeker for the
Yep.
area variance test for the Caleb Ave property.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor of the seeker determination?
Aye.
Great.
And let's make a
Do I
motion.
make a motion to affirm the vote previously made
Yes.
for the area variance?
A second on the affirmation of the previous vote. All those in favor of again voting on this?
Aye.
Great.
Aye.
All right. Seeker for the use variance. The use variance, which is V-24-15.
Okay, has everyone had a chance to review the short EAF Part 1 that's contained in your packet?
Yes.
Is everyone familiar with the questions of the short EAF Part 2, which also should be contained in your packet?
Yes.
Okay, does anyone believe this project will have any moderate to large impacts under seeker?
No.
Okay, because you do not believe there will be any moderate to large impacts, I recommend you vote to issue a negative declaration under seeker and complete the EAF Part 3 accordingly.
Can I get a motion to issue a negative declaration on V2415 for seeker?
A motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor of the negative declaration for seeker?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I get a motion to affirm your previous vote to deny the use variance on V2415?
Motion to affirm the vote on.
A second?
Second.
All those in favor of the affirmation?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Thank you. Sorry about my voice, too. All right. We are now going to conduct the public hearing for V2414. Is the applicant here?
Tell them that's the cricket case.
The cricket. Okay. Do you have,
The applicant has this.
Yeah,
Where's the applicant? It's not on the application.
so we need the applicant or
The owner.
their authorization for somebody else to speak on their behalf, so somebody's supposed to be here to present.
Are you Richard? I am. Oh, well, then he is the owner applicant.
Okay. I thought he said he wasn't the applicant.
he did.
He did. Sorry about that.
Well, apparently, since I'm the landlord, I don't know if I was required to be the applicant.
Sir, could you come up to the microphone? Sorry. Public meetings.
I own the shopping center here. I've owned it for 35 years.
Could you tell us your name and address?
Richard Estamico. I live at 8412 Hobnail Road, Manlius, New York.
Thank you.
He's the owner applicant, yeah.
So apparently, because I'm the owner, I had to be the applicant?
You had to sign off on the application.
Okay,
Yes.
I did.
Okay.
So tell us about the case.
Tell you about it?
Could you provide any information about the tenant, the need for the sign, and any other additional information you have about the plaza that would be useful for us?
Okay, so I'm not entirely familiar with the sign application. Okay, all I can tell you is this tenant signed a lease 20 months ago and has been in the space and in the process of trying to get a sign permit since that time. Codes held us up because they said that I needed to submit some plan from 2010 when it was a hair salon. It was a hair salon for 14 years. All of a sudden in 2010, I'm supposed to go back to submit a plan. And in any event, we went through the entire process and then it went through the fire department. Lo and behold, we're here today trying to get them finally to get a sign that's been sitting inside the store, and they've been open with a paper sign up on the storefront. So all I can ask you to do is, it's not offensive in any way. It goes with the plaza. Every sign in the plaza is backlit. It's a wonderful addition to a very difficult space. It's next to the dumpsters, which they keep clean. So I would encourage you to approve it, is all I can ask you. It's been very, very frustrating, honestly.
Any additional questions from the board? No? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of the application? Please step up. Can you give us your name and your address at the mic, please?
My name's Todd LaFlamme. I'm with A&M Graphics. We also do signage, so I feel it's important to allow businesses to promote who they are and, advertise to passersby so that they know what's in that storefront.
Great. Could you give us an address, please?
Yes, I'm sorry. A&M Graphics is 202 Grant Ave in Auburn, New York.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else who would like to speak in favor of the application? Seeing none. Anybody who wishes to speak against the application? Seeing none, we will conclude the public comment on V2414. And now I will ask for, we have to do a motion.
No, you don't have to do a discussion. You can talk about the criteria together, but you can't say that they've adequately met. You can't
Any other additional comment from the board on the facts before us about this application?
So the application must prove a majority proof that it doesn't change the neighborhood character, that
Yes.
they don't have feasible alternatives, that it doesn't have a substantial impact
If
or an
there-
adverse effect.
Yes, of those 5 area variance approvals, we need to make sure we have substantial
Self-created. Okay.
information and which ones weigh the most heavily in our deliberate proceedings. And if we feel as though we have enough information in the application and from the applicant owner, we can proceed.
Did he make a motion?
I didn't
We
make
were
one.
discussing.
Oh,
There's no further factual discussion from the board. Great. All right. Can I ask for a motion on the area variance V2414?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Great. Michael?
Okay, well, there will be no tremendous change in the character to the neighborhood if this, with the approval of this.
On neighborhood character, I would just add the reference to
You can
the,
add after if you want to.
Oh,
say
okay,
that. He's
okay.
gotta go
You know,
through
it won't be an undesirable change because it's a strip mall and the other, this sign will match pretty much all the other signs there. The benefits sought can be, well, there's really no other, the benefits sought from the sign would be that the people will come in and know that there's a Cricket store there, and they'll be able to give the business to the renter and be productive. There are, is this substantial? No, it is not. It's only 7 feet more than the limit. An adverse effect, I don't see any adverse effect by having the sign there. Like I said, it would match the others. And it's really not, I do not believe it is self-created.
Would anybody like to second Michael's motion to approve the area variance application?
I'm second.
Second, yep.
Any other comment from the board?
I would just comment that I think the sum of the proof is there to justify the variance, the parts, in particular the neighborhood character with the plaza. And I think the references to all the other signs that have been approved over time, this one seems actually smaller and to fit better with the property than some of the other signs that were approved in the past. I do think there is an alternative to have a smaller sign, but given the context of the plaza and the character of all the other signs and the nature of being set far from the street and the stores being far from the initial sign, I don't think it has a damaging effect to the character of the neighborhood. I don't think it's substantial given the presence of the plaza. And I don't think it's going to do anything adversely to affect the other ones. Self-created. Also, I think the plaza was built a long time ago, so the nature of having far setbacks makes it so you might need a little bigger signs.
Any other discussion from the board?
And also what I said, I hope would be in accordance with rezone and the statutory criteria for the area variance.
All right, I believe we need to make a seeker determination before we vote.
We'll get better at this.
We will.
It's a new thing. Has
It's
everyone?
my first time chairing, guys, I'm sorry.
Maybe we should bake it into the reading of the fourth adverse effect one, or something to that.
Aren't you on this committee now to fix this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
voluntold.
Okay, has everyone had a chance to review the short EAF Part 1 in your packet?
Yes.
Yes.
Is everyone familiar with the 11 questions of the short EAF Part 2?
Yes.
Does anyone believe this project will have a moderate to large impact under seeker?
No.
Because you do not believe there will be any moderate to large impacts, I recommend you vote to issue a negative declaration under seeker and complete the EAF Part 3 accordingly.
Can I get a motion for a negative declaration on the seeker determination for V2414?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Carries. All right. Now Can I get,
We voted on the
Yes.
motion to approve?
we have to now vote on the motion to, so we have a pending motion to approve the area variance as per the general conditions for variance approval and in accordance with rezone and the statutory criteria. All those in favor, we have a first and a second.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Fantastic. Can I get a motion to, what are we doing? Close the.
Adjourn.
Adjourn, thank you, I couldn't think of the word.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? We are adjourned at 1:37.
We will have another training before the next bunch of meetings. And those of you on the committee, I will send an email out to you to,
Sounds good.
great job.
I'm gonna stop taking this off.